All right, I guess I'm live. Hello, good evening, and my name is Augustine, and I'm here to give another live broadcast. I was supposed to give a live broadcast yesterday. Yesterday, we had our send button meeting. Yesterday, we had our broadcasters meeting, and I was making a broadcast, and somewhere along the line, the system got screwed up, and then it could not continue recording. My system had some issues with the internet, so I had to actually hang up. That was actually what happened. So once again, my name is Augustine, the simple consultant, and I'm speaking to you live from Nigeria. And I'm not supposed to give a broadcast on Tuesday, but the reason I'm doing this broadcast is because I want to be consistent. And since I didn't meet up on my yesterday's broadcast, then I have to give a broadcast this faithful evening. And the title of my broadcast for today is We Are Centralized, We Are Private, We Are Debt Free, and We Are Building in Love. Now, before I would continue, if you are coming into my channel for the first time, I would appreciate it if you can give me a thumbs up. You can also like my channel. Sorry, you can also subscribe to my channel and then click on the bell button so that in the event of time, if I do come online, you'd be able to get a message on your phone, on your system that I'm available or that I'm doing a broadcast. I wouldn't be taking so much time today from my broadcast. And sorry, give me a second. Yes, I'm live. No, no, I can't cut it. I'm still on live. Yes, you are disturbing. I can't do that. I'm already on the broadcast. All right. So sorry. Currently I'm still in my office, and my colleagues are trying to, engage me in work activities, but officially I'm closed. So sorry for this. And let me get back to work. So I said I was supposed to do a broadcast, and it was interrupted. So going forward, this broadcast will border on the same thing that I talked about yesterday, which was the title. We are centralized, we are private, we are debt free, and we are building in love. Now, the first thing I want to call to our attention is that TBC community is now going and is doing very well. Now, before I will continue, I want to share my screen. So I want to share my screen. Now, I hope you are seeing my screen. Now, now we see that our numbers are now doing very well. We are coming up and we are really doing well. Now, the reason I'm here to discuss with us as a community, as my subscribers, is that I want us to begin to brace up within the TBC community and begin to help in growing the TBC community. Now, you and I already know that in the TBC community, that a number of people are now still, they are doing nothing. Now, you have to learn to cultivate the TBC community in one way or the other. Now, we are like a team that is building a skyscraper. Okay. Now, in the place of building a skyscraper, there are some engineers that take part in the building project. Now, the person who masterminds the project is the architect. The architect designs the building, and in the architect level, there are different subdivisions of architects. There is the site architect, there is the consultant architect. Now, it is the consultant architect that comes to supervise. The site architect is the one that makes sure that everything is carried out in line with the specifications of how the architect has put it down, which is the consultant architect. Now, there are some people who make up the system in engineering when building that building. One of them is the structural engineer. Secondly, the mechanical engineer. The third one is the electrical engineer. Now, we know that the mechanical engineer does the M and the E. The electrical engineers does the wirings. Now, the structural engineers does the strength of the concrete and the reinforcement rods that are required. However, there are some people that you cannot also neglect. Some of these people are the plumbers. Some of these people are the masons. Some of these people are those who are the carpenters. So all these people are people that also take part in building that skyscraper. Now, there are several other people that take part in making sure that a building stands. There are so many people that take part in seeing that a building stands. Now, we also in the community can be likened to those kind of people. Some of us, we may not have the luxury of time. Okay, we may not have the luxury of time to become a full-timer. But even though you are not having the luxury of time to be a full-timer, at least you can contribute the little way. Now, it is not out of place for you to take TBC as a responsibility. The admin has made it very clear. Now, I want us to throw more light in this before I continue. I want to open the Bitcoin bounty contest. Now, when we look at this Bitcoin bounty contest, I'm not looking at the numbers. I'm here to talk about the numbers. I want to talk about this particular thing. The admin recently updated this particular um, information. Now, we are already known. Contest payouts, 20 grains of gold for first place, 200 grains of gold for first place, 100 grains of gold for second place, 50 grains of gold for third place. Paid out on Mondays before the send button meeting and made in Bitcoin. Please make sure that you have registered your Bitcoin address and keep identified KCBO account holders are not allowed to collect winnings, and winners are required to upload a head and shoulder picture of their KCBO account into their profile in order to qualify for the full-timer contest. Now, this is the part I want us to take note of. Your referrals must have a completed registration. Please ensure your referrals take the time to complete the registration process before the contest ends each week. Now, we all know that as at last week, the contest ran, the number of contestants were about 1,280 or 88,288, about that number. But you will see that at the end of the contest, let's get to that place. That is concerning the English of the contest. You will find out that the administration, the support team, they were able to upgrade the system to input automation so that if you have not made any conscious payment, then it's not going to reflect. Now, in this particular one, the total numbers boil down to about 1,933. That means that 933 active members came in for this contest. And all these people who came into the contest brought in paid members. Everybody you are seeing here are paid members. And since everybody here are paid members, it clearly shows that so many people who had doubts, because a number of people had doubts in the TBC community, especially from Africa. A good number of people were of the opinion that the admin should not go with the Bitcoin bounty contest because the Bitcoin bounty contest will not stand the test of time. But then admin had his mind, and his mind is such that he's pulling people out of poverty so that they come out of their comfort zone and begin to hustle, telling the world about TBC. And admin's goal, he has been saying it categorically, that he wants to get 1 million billionaires, which is 1,111,111. When we are able to have these numbers, who are going to be full-timers, who are going to be billionaires, who are going to be members that are telling people about TBC, which are going to be broadcasters, Then we can now see how far we can go. Now, when you are going to fall into this category, there are some responsibilities that are required of you. Now, you could be someone that is working, because I see this is from my own perspective. I stand to be corrected. Admin is creating jobs for people. Now, you listening to me, you may have some jobs or you may have a job. Okay. Now, the job you may have may be something that is wow. You may not have all the time. You may not have all the time, to go out and then recruit people. Yes, I know that's very possible. But even though you don't have the luxury of time to recruit people, let me assume that you will have so much engagement from Monday through till Saturday, and then on Sunday you only have time to rest. But at least you can do well to contribute to the TBC community. What does it mean to contribute? It's as simple as paying your admin fee. Now, those of us who has not taken note of this, please, I would advise that you go into the education section and look into the private section. Go there and then read the information that are there. The reason why I'm saying this is because a good number of people are going to be oblivious or ignorant of the events that will be coming in. The admin has already said that there should be responsibility. People who have at least one TBC and above should be responsible for their coins. If you are in the category of having one TBC and above, admin has said it and he has been saying it. You should be accountable for your coins. You should have two options. The first option is taking responsibility by monthly payment of your admin fee. Of course, if you are working, because from all over the world, admin is looking for billionaires who are just 1 million. And out of that 1 million, it should cut across every sectors or countries of the world. So if you are falling into this category, then you should be accountable for your coins. If you are not able to be accountable for your coins, then that means the position is not supposed to be for you. However, there are several other options like the the Kringlers. The Kringlers would also have their categories. So if you are in the Kringler category, when the time comes, you are also going to help in supporting the billionaires, because the billionaires will provide liquidity, while the millionaires will go out there and employ people and pay them with Kringles. Now, when they are short of funds, they go back to the millionaire will provide liquidity for them. So it's going to be a synergy. That is the reason why this particular Bitcoin bounty contest is a way of creating a link between an ordinary person and a billionaire. Now, you may say, I don't have anything to do in the community. Let me sit by the side. Anytime the admin is ready, then we can move forward. Well, the truth is that we don't know when the admin will be ready. It could take as much as a month, it could take as much as 6 months, it could take as much as even a year. And you see, the same thing that happened in Bitcoin is likely going to be the same thing that would happen again in the TBC community. What is it that happened in Bitcoin? In Bitcoin, people bought Bitcoin and they did not understand the value of Bitcoin. Now, when Papa John, I think it was Papa John, that sold out Bitcoin, he sold out pizza, and then a guy bought that pizza for a certain amount. I can't remember the amount, but something very small. When he bought it with $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, a pizza worth maybe less than $500. He bought it with $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. I think that was what caused Bitcoin to become obvious. And another thing that also made Bitcoin obvious was that Bill Gates began to accept it as a medium of exchange, in his system. That is Microsoft. So there is something that causes things to become obvious. Now, our system is not supposed to follow the exact pattern, because we are a community and our community is building to alleviate poverty. That is our goal. And I also want you to understand that the elites are aware of us. I also want you to understand that the governments of every country are also watching us. You may not know, these governments are also amongst us. They are registered members and they are watching how the system is going. They are watching if we are claiming to be a non-governmental organization, and the other way around, we are acting contrary to what we claim. They are watching to see if we are a terrorist organization. They are watching to see if we are a peace loving organization. All these things are happening in the system. But you see, we are still very, very young. Remember my topic. We are centralized, we are private, and we are growing in love. That is my topic. So those of us now that are listening to me, those of us now that are listening to me, I want you to understand that we have a long way to go. And since we have a long way to go, we have to understand that we should align ourselves with the mind of the admin because we have a goal. Let me go to I will explain better. Mm, let me go to the blog so that I'll explain better. There are so many things that's taking place. Ah, there is a particular place that, oh no, I don't know if I can still get the place. Now, there was a particular friend of mine who talked about aligning yourself with the mind of the admin. I'm not able to get that place. But the bottom line is this: if we're able to align ourselves to the mind of the admin, then we can make progress. Now, let me explain some things concerning this admin of the TBC community. Nobody knows him. Now, no one has seen him. Even the voice, the current voice of the TBC community, which I can say is there are so many voices anyway. There are so many voices, and admin has had a one-on-one contact with a good number of them. Yes, no one has seen him before. Nobody knows if he's a he or a she. Nobody knows. Now, the thing is, from my own understanding about the admin and everything he has said concerning the blog, it is clear, very clear, that the admin's level of understanding is also on the same level of the elites that are controlling the world. But one thing I am sure about that makes me say that the admin is not of the devil, because so many people are having a double mind. Their mind is, who knows, the admin may be the antichrist. So many people have that fear, yes, because they say that we are building a community of 1 billion, and that after we've had 1 billion, we'll use that 1 billion to go out and well, I can tell you that it is God that also may be using the admin to move through the world one more last time. I can tell you that. Because when you look into the system of the world, you will find out that it is obvious that the devils are not residing in the TBC community. Now, when you look into the TBC community, you will understand that everything we are doing is controlled. And the system that is being used in the TBC community is a system that is kind of godly. Let me explain. It may be true that admin is not revealing every information, but at the right time, he is going to reveal it. And we in the TBC community who are broadcasters, admin is not limiting you to become a broadcaster. If you want to become a broadcaster, feel free. As you begin to broadcast, you begin to have broadcasters meeting. We can liken ourselves as the broadcasters, people that are at the top front of the TBC community, to understand why and how things are done. And I will tell you that confidential informations are being made open to the broadcasters so that they will have confidence that they are not in a scam program, so that they will have confidence that this person that they are dealing with is someone that has the mind and the freedom for humanity as a heartbeat. Now, I want to actually use this as a reference. Now, TBC Confidential. What is TBC Confidential? I can't tell you. You need to attend a send button meeting. A send button meeting is not a secret meeting. A send button meeting is a private meeting for only those who are registered members within the TBC community, registered members that has an active account. Now, let me just quickly read this thing because everyday admin says it. Sorry, Bederic says it. I want to read it again and again so that we can understand. I wouldn't want to rush it, but I think I should rush it because of my time. Now, I would like to just talk quickly from here down to this point. This is all I want to discuss. Now, I would like to bring in some clarity to why admin and the type of blockchain we use are unknown. Short answer is security is very expensive. TBC is rolling out and not fully developed at this point, yet it is highly functional today. The admin fee is ridiculously low to keep the barrier to the entry of the TBC community very low. Some of you may be saying that that's a lie, that the amount is actually not very low. Well, it is you that will decide if it is low or not. But to the best of my understanding, the mind is powerful. When you decide a thing is low, it becomes low. When you decide a thing is high, it becomes high. One thing is sure, when you look into this Bitcoin contest and you see that all these people are paid members, all these people are paid members, and the total number of entries are 933, and automation was put in. Without automation, it was 1,200 and something. Now, that clearly shows that these countries are poor countries: India, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Papua New Guinea. Let's go to the next page. Bangladesh, Uganda, Philippines. They are poor countries, but how come they were able to get these numbers? It clearly shows that everything is possible when you set your mind to it. So let me quickly finish it. We are in a mission to help the poor. This thing is very key, this statement. We are in a mission to help the poor rise out of poverty, which is using the Bitcoin bounty contest to help the poor rise out of poverty. If you choose to remain there, fine. Now, another thing you should also know is admin is not limiting you in contributing to the community. You could come in to speak your mind. You could come in to hear from people. You could come in to contribute in one way or the other. There are ways that you can contribute. I made reference to a building, a skyscraper. There are carpenters there are engineers there are architects there are masons there are iron benders, bar schedule benders that are there. There are people who do different things. There are people who use what do you call this thing, to shape the concrete when the concrete is still wet. I'm trying to remember the name of the thing. That is the thing that vibrates, a vibrator. Very good. It vibrates and then makes sure that the concrete sets very well so that there can be honeycombs. Those of us who are engineers will understand what I mean. Now, the bottom line is we need to come together as an organized system and work together to achieve, because the only way that we can be able to overcome, the only way we can enter into our blockchain, the only way we can make a difference is when we get together and unite. Now, so we have kept the costs down as much as possible to run a sustainable operation. Now, remaining unknown reduces the chances of attacks so that we can continue to grow organically. As funds grow, so will our tech and admin structure. And with enough funds, high level of security can be put into place. We are self-funded operation on admin fee. I want you to understand that we are self-funded operation on the admin fee, meaning we are a self-funded organization and our dependency is what? On the admin fee, to make sure that the admin uses it to grow the TBC community to a reasonable structure. Okay? Now, we are debt-free. We are not like the US that is owing more than $23 trillion. We are self-regulated, meaning we are outside the jurisdiction or the control of the government system, and we are private. Now, another thing I also want us to understand is this: transactions over 400 grains of gold. 400 grains of gold are transactions that are approximately over $1,000 in fiat currency value. Now, the admin has said will result in the TBC commissioner reaching out by email to collect details of transactions to make sure that equal value was exchanged to prevent the discounting of our coins. Total transaction done within a 24-hour period of 2,000 grains of gold. Now, what is 2,000 grains of gold? I think 2,000 grains of gold is about, I think we can actually find out. I think that's about $10,000. But let's find out. Okay, 2,000 grains of gold. Okay, it's supposed to be $5,000, but because of the gold grain market value is high, it shows $6,000. So originally, it's supposed to be about $5,000. So transactions over $5,000 will result in the TBC commissioner reaching out by email to collect details of transactions to make sure that equal same thing with the other one. Now, contact, you see, these two are the same. This is $1,000, this is $5,000 within 24 hours. Now, this one is $10,000 transactions. Contact TBC Commissioner in advance of completing a 40,000 green or greater transaction to show proof ahead of time that a transaction of that size is being done to something of equal value to prevent massive discounting of our coins. Now, what the admin is trying to make you understand is that he's trying to restore a kind of system of control, a kind of system of guide. Now, this thing does not apply to the rich alone. It does not apply to the poor alone. It applies to everybody within the TBC community. So in this TBC community, I can tell you, we are growing in love. One, two, there is equality. There is no partiality. There was one of the blog posts that admin said that I am not sensitive to color, or I am not sensitive to color. Meaning admin does not know if you're white or you're black or you're purple or you're red. Whatever you are, he treats everybody on the same platform. That is the reason why what applies, the technology that guides A also guides B. And we also know that all the funds that are being used to build the TBC community, one, it is also used for recurrent expenditures. It is also used to pay the support team, the commissioners, and the rest. Now, when you look at this system and you compare it to the banking system, you will find out that the banking system has done a very shameful job. You will find out that currencies vary. The value of Naira differs from the value of rands. You find out that the value of Indian rupees varies from the value of yens. Now, this creates pure inequality and there is no balance. And you will find out that the whole system is rigged. Now, when you look at this system and compare it to the system that admin is building, you will find out that our system is a system that is close to a near perfect system. Now, another thing I also want you to understand, those of us who are listening, is that in our TBC community, you cannot be robbed. Let me say it again. In our TBC community, you cannot be robbed. Supposing we get to our economy phase and then someone points a gun at you at one point and says, young man, send all your coins. Of course, you can send it. Once you've sent your coins and the person goes with your coins, thinking he has robbed you of your coins, he does not understand or he has forgotten. Of course, the person would not be an active member, because if you're an active member, you will find out that the admin has said that if you have ever wondered why we call this send button meeting, is because admin will turn off the send buttons of both the buyers and sellers of any transaction if TBC is discounted. Now, many of us do not know. Many of us are still discounting. Now, you may have done it in the previous times. And from 28th of August 2019, admin put up a blog that those of you who fail to keep up to the standard as a TBCian and you discount, your coins will not be turned on again. And I believe that the support and the admin team is keeping to their words. Okay? Now, another thing I also want us to understand is that a previous event just took place last weekend. And there was a friend, a colleague of, not a colleague, a community member by name Chukwuka Obelago. His coins were robbed. He was robbed of his coins. And he made some complaints to the commissioner. He made some complaints to the administration. Somewhere along the line, I assume that the commissioner or the administration thought that he was playing smart. So they turned off his send button, and then he got offended and made a broadcast telling the community that the TBC 009 wallet is not secure and that his coins has been stolen and that the admin must get to do something about it. Admin must have also heard it. And as soon as he heard it, what he did was he made the necessary corrections, because the administration has our informations. Now, when you forget your password, you write an information to them, telling them you've forgotten your password, and they will send it to you. And then you put in your password if you are not an active member. Now, as soon as that is done, you will have access to your details. Maybe you forget your security questions, you can write to them and they will give that to you. Now, I'm sure that when Chukwuka Obelagu made that broadcast and it went viral, what this administration did was that they collected the details of the person who defaulted and then put in the username, put in the password, and send back the coins to the person, and then blocked him permanently from being a member in the TBC community. Now, what does that mean? The guy must have been a thief. He may have been his friend. We don't know because the whole system is all encrypted. Nobody will know the other person using the person's wallet address. So it's a private system and it is pure privacy that is encouraged in the system. Now, Chukwuka Obelagu came out again and said, wow, my coins has been restored. So what am I trying to say? We're a system, one, we are centralized. Two, we are private. Three, we are building in love. Now, in a system where it is centralized and is private, it is not under the control. You cannot come to say you are investigating this. Like in Nigeria, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission cannot come to investigate us. Now, that's a system, that's a body, I can call it one of the dogs of the government. When you go into money laundering, they come after you. Now, in our system, we don't do that. All we need to do is turn off your send button. If there is need to restore your coins, then your coins will be restored. Now, you see that if you project into the future, you will find out that our system is going to be so sweet, it's going to be so perfect that you can't even steal in the system. So if you want to store your money and give real value, because our value is backed up by grains of gold. Now you'll find out that if you want to give real value to your money, you can save it up in Kringle value, you can save it up in TBC value, because over time, as we grow into a billion, your value adds more and more by the day, as long as it is not being stored there. Because admin has made it very clear that you don't store TBC, because TBC is not, one, TBC is not an asset. Two, TBC is not an investment. Three, you don't make interest. You don't make interest on TBC. Four, TBC is not a security. When you have these things at the back of your mind, the admin now concluded on saying that TBC is a medium of exchange. Now, when you have made conscious efforts, the rewards for those efforts you have made is what you'll be given, which is what Kringles or TBC. Admin also said it is like a current that flows amongst the members within the TBC community. Refer to your public notice. When you read your article of association and you read your public notice, all these informations are contained there. You should also do well to check the private notice and read it as an active member. The admin is building something and he cannot come out and tell the world, because when he did that the first time, there was a rebel. The majority of the community rebelled. They were angry with the TBC admin and they were talking to him in a way that was not friendly. So admin has decided to use wisdom to work with the system so that people can by themselves align themselves. Because I can tell you, if you're a TBCian and you choose to keep quiet, this is not Bitcoin. You cannot just fold your hands and then be like 50 Cent that invested a certain amount of money and then the market appreciated and suddenly, wow, you are a billionaire. Wow, you are a millionaire. No, in the TBC community, you have to be accountable for the actions you take. I want this to be very clear. All right, I think I've run out of my time. I have a number of things to attend to. And sorry, I have not continued on my series. The reason why I have not continued is because I have not had the time to sit down and address the house. I'm going to do that shortly. All I just have to do is I have to make sure that my consistency is not shut up, or I'm still consistent. Because if I'm consistent in my broadcast, people will listen to me, and at a time, people will begin to appreciate everything that I'm dropping. So my conclusion of today's broadcast is this. One, make time out to always follow the TBC community. Now, there is one thing I also want us to understand before I round off. Payment history. Now, this payment history is very, 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 very key. The admin are looking at the community at large. There are some things he's watching. First of all, he's watching how consistent are you in following the TBC community. Now, to know how consistent you can be or you are, you would have to be regular in attending send button meetings. That is one. If you're not regular in attending send button meetings, I don't think you are consistently following. Secondly, you have to pay your monthly admin fee. Now, there are two options. The first option in paying your admin fee is that you become a full-timer, and then you bring in two people who are actively paying their admin fee. Now, once two people come in, you are able to pay for that month. You can bring in 3, you can bring in 10, you can bring in 50, according to your skill. Okay? Now, you may not have the luxury of time. Then take responsibility and pay by yourself. Another thing I also want you to understand is that this second option I have given It is not a sure option. It is an alternative, possibly because you don't have the luxury of time and maybe you have money to be able to build the community at your disposal. If you don't attend to the TBC community by actively contributing, and you are not a full-timer by actively contributing and bringing in people, I don't think you are qualified to hold that TBC that you are carrying. So admin is making necessary plans to make sure that in due time, according to his own calendar, everybody will be rewarded according to the effort he has made. So admin is going to use this payment history to see who are monthly and consistently paying the admin fee. Everything is recorded. The invoice is there, the payment date is there, the type of payment is there, the amount received in Bitcoin, everything is open. So you can't hide anything. You can't say, you can't lie in the community. You can't steal in the community. And as we continue to go forward, you are going to encounter some other challenges. The first challenge we had was then Latifa, a set of people who thought to overthrow the admin, according to what admin had said. Now, that part has also gone. The last rival which we had was Mr. Critic. We know who Mr. Critic is. Now he has gone to the background. I do not know if he's still an active member in the TBC community. But one thing I also want you to understand is, as a community member, if you do nothing, you would get nothing. You are going to be placed properly according to the effort you have made in growing the TBC community. Now, I do not know if anyone has watched this broadcast or anyone is currently watching this broadcast, but I will check. If there is no one, I know that over time people will watch this broadcast. And I'm so sorry, at earlier times you were hearing noises in the background. The reason is because my colleagues were still in the office and I had promised myself that I was going to do a broadcast. So my sincere apologies. Going forward, I will try to adjust to make sure that I find a suitable time to do this broadcast. So I will stop here. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay. My brother Mofo, wow, you really did well to have come in today. Thank you very much. And good evening. And I think I will stop here. Thank you very much for being online. So the next time I'm going to be on my broadcast will be tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. I think tomorrow about 5 p.m. Nigerian time, or 5 I'll come online and then I'll say something and I'll call it a day for that day. And I think tomorrow I'm going to continue on my series program. That is TBC is the last day's Exodus. So thank you very much. For those of you who will be watching my broadcast, please do well, like my video, share, subscribe, click on the bell button, and then we can go forward. So bye for now.